In the acting class that I teach here at Sciences Po, on the first day I asked my students to bring in a hard copy of the play. There are no screens in my classroom. We do not have laptops, no tablets. We shut off our phones. 2 hours with one another and the text. Et voilà. This is what my students' scripts look like by the end of the semester. You can see they are highlighted. There's comments on nearly every page. There's a note here, reread the entire play. My student has underlined concepts that she needs to look up. She has circled clues about her character's social and economic background. She has plotted the action of every scene. She wrote notes on staging and props. There's even a suggestion here about her costume. This character would never show up in her gym clothes. She reminds herself to focus her attention on her scene partner. It's not about me, it's about getting him to admit his hubris. She's also grappling with the meaning of this play for an audience of young people in France today. Why do we care? There are layers and layers of insights in this script. All my students' scripts look like this. They are tattered, and they have notes all over them. And actually, this is a wonderful artifact. It is concrete evidence of my students' deep engagement with the play, with their scene partners, and one another. You can take a look if you want. I think actually this kind of intense engagement has become very rare. Students are seldom without a phone and a laptop, and screens make it very difficult, if not impossible, for students to focus on a single text over an extended period of time. Screens also make it difficult for students to connect with one another. They isolate students. Screens also give us the illusion that every question has a simple and correct answer within easy reach, just a prompt away. Institutions are scrambling to contend with the changes that AI has wrought. Sciences Po, in fact, last month, published a document that was called The Framework for the Use of Generative AI by Faculty. And in this document, they list the basic skills, the fundamental skills that you all need to learn as students without any recourse to AI. Those skills are close reading, a nuanced and subtle understanding of complex texts, structured writing and a mastery of oral expression, logical reasoning and coherent argumentation, oral debate and active listening. And the fifth thing is an ability to actually synthesize and to paraphrase ideas independently. The interesting thing is that in this document, the thing that they don't talk about is how you are supposed to learn these skills and practice these skills. The theater has some of those answers. One of my students actually joked last week that my theater classes are AI-proof. They're immune to AI. I think she's actually right. Not every student has to take an acting class, but the theater gives us a model for understanding how we need to communicate in the classroom in a digital age. The theater has for centuries brought us closer to one another. It has brought us closer to our oral and written traditions. It has also made space for public debate and for conversation. The theater brings together in a room a group of artists who work together over the course of weeks and months to research and to rehearse a single play, and then they face an audience. So these are the three core commitments of the theater. A relationship with the text, a relationship with one another, and a relationship with the audience. So let's talk about those three commitments. First, the text. Actors look for answers in the text. Actors scour the text for clues to help them build their characterization. Actors read and reread the script in order to find the plot, the incidents, the facts, the period, the time, the place of the action, and the way of life, what Konstantin Stanislavski called the given circumstances. It's through that larger picture, we arrive at this larger picture by committing to those small details. That's why dramatists are actually experts at picking up on every nuance. Students, on the other hand, are not in the habit of digging in the text for answers. Students' instinct is to look elsewhere, to prompt a quick summary of the text, to click on a link to a short essay about the primary source, to look everywhere, in fact, except in the text. And this is actually part of a more general tendency, because these machines that we have at our disposal, these powerful machines, they seem to speak with authority. And they encourage us to rely on their artificial expertise instead of our ability to do close reading. So it's no wonder that this skill is withering away. By contrast, the rehearsal process is actually showing us how a close and direct relationship with the text is so powerful. It's this thing that we need to encourage in the classroom, that script that I gave to you over there, with all of the post-it notes and the highlighting and the comments. This is actually evidence. These are the signs of working with language rather than around language. Number two, the second commitment is a relationship with one another. Theater is not an individual pursuit. Theater is a dynamic group activity. Actors create their characters with their scene partners. The actors come in and they respond and listen very carefully to one another, and they instinctively reinterpret the scene together. It is through this organic give and take that they are actually able to, as a group, discover new and interesting interpretations of the play. It's this organic and responsive way of working together that Peter Brook called a living theater. The classroom seminar would be a much more alive place if it functioned more like a theater rehearsal. But students actually have quite a challenging time engaging meaningfully with one another. When I walk past classrooms on campus at Sciences Po, I notice that students are hiding behind their laptops. They're missing out on the camaraderie and the trust that they need to push one another and to disagree with one another. So as with close reading, I think they lost the skills, or they maybe never learned the skills that they need to shape insights together through public debate and dialogue. The theater is actually a model for how learning happens through interaction with other people. Learning happens through structured interaction with other people. It is through relationships with people that we actually push our own understandings, that we challenge our own assumptions, and that we are able to create new ideas. The third commitment is a relationship with the audience. So theater companies don't create, or they don't rehearse for rehearsal's sake. We create great drama for an audience. And the theater, we have a very specific goal. We are trying to take the audience on a transformative journey to get them to open their eyes to new ideas, to move them, to get them to see their own world more clearly. And so it's this orientation on the audience, this focus on the audience, that actually drives and energizes the entire theatrical process from start to finish. So how are classroom assignments in comparative to this? Classroom assignments often lack this larger sense of purpose. Oftentimes, classroom assignments are seen as part of an assessment, and they are not seen as an integral part of the learning process. Students write an essay and they give a presentation as part of fulfilling criteria or getting a grade. They're going through the motions. And this was a problem before, but it's actually totally unworkable in the age of AI, because AI is better at going through the motions than human beings. Assignments should not be a separate task that is trying to test for proficiency. Assignments should actually be a culmination of close reading and debates over the course of a semester. They should draw from individual and group work, and they should build into a particular perspective that was forged inside of the classroom. In their assignments, they need to not address an anonymous, objective grader who's on the lookout for some kind of basic competence. But they actually need to enlighten, to persuade, and to move an audience whom they define and whom they care about. Students have actually been begging their institutions to ban laptops in the classroom. Students are hungry for a different kind of space, for a space that is for deep reflection, a space in which they have lively encounters with one another, a space in which they are undistracted and unhurried to do work that leads to original thought. You know, students are actually digital natives. They have been weaned on screens. And yet they now view what used to be seen as a sign of progress in education, give every child a tablet. They now see this as an obstacle to their intellectual growth. Technology will continue to transform our lives in various aspects, in research, in the work world. But it is up to us to carve out these spaces for more profound forms of learning. And this is precisely the kind of space that the theater is. It is a space where we meet intimately, and it is a space where we meet as a community. And so that is why the theater is the perfect starting point to reimagine communication in the classroom.